had started and completed introduction part and statement of law. Today, we will have a quick recap session of introduction of supply as well as statement of law. Okay. Now, you all can reply me in the chat box who introduced the law of supply. Who introduced law of supply? Reply me in the chat box. Name of the person? Professor Alfred Marshall. Yes, correct, Preeti. And in which book did he write this? In which book did he publish? And in which year? Yes, Gauri. Darshana, correct. Professor Alfred Marshall. Which book did he publish and in which year that book was published? Correct. Principle of Economics, that which was published in the year 1890. Correct, Gauri. Joel. Okay. And in statement of law, I had asked you all to write the statement of law in double inverted comma. The statement always will be there in double inverted comma. Now, can you all write me what was the statement? Write in the chat box. I'll give you a minute for you all to write. So the statement, exactly correct. The statement of the law is, other things being constant, higher the price of commodity, more is the quantity supplied, and lower the price of a commodity, less is the quantity supplied. Then we had even studied, yes, correct, Preeti, exactly correct. The law explains the functional relationship between price and quantity supplied. There is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Correct, Jigna. Correct, Girish. Good. Moving ahead, we had even analyzed the symbolically. It has been written as capital S, small x is equal to small f, capital P in the bracket, and x, bracket close. Now, what does it mean? S stands for what, students? S stands for good, supply. X stands for commodity. Supply of commodity X is equal to functional relationship of price of commodity X. F stands for function, P stands for price, and X is for commodity. Moving ahead, today we are going to analyze assumption, supply schedule, exception of the law, variations in supply, and changes in supply. So here is an assumption. The very first assumption is, now whatever were our determinants, that same thing we consider is an assumption. That is why determinants part, they have been kept as a self-study part. Now, what is the meaning of assumption? Assumption, first let me making very clear that none of the law can be made without assumption. Assumption is very, very important in any of the law, whether it is demand, whether it is supply. Now, what is assumption? Assumption means we feel, we consider that thing as it is true. Okay, we assume that this will be the situation. हमारे इकोनॉमी में हम लोग ये assume करते हैं कि ये सच होगा. अभी लॉ ऑफ सप्लाई कब अप्लाई होगा? जब हम अज्यूम करेंगे ये सातों चीज है हमारे इकोनॉमी में, हमारे मार्केट में. प्रोड्यूसर अज्यूम करेगा कि कांस्टेंट कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन हो. नाउ फर्स्ट आई विल टेल यू द मीनिंग ऑफ कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. Cost of production is related to the different expenses that a firm faces in producing a good or services. अभी कोई भी हम लोग को प्रोडक्ट बनाना है तो जब वो प्रोडक्शन होता है प्रोडक्ट का, उसके पीछे का जब कॉस्ट होता है, सपोज मुझे शर्ट बनाना है, शर्ट बनाने के लिए मैं रॉ मटेरियल पे खर्च करूंगी. रॉ मटेरियल क्या रहेगा एक शर्ट बनाने के लिए? रॉ मटेरियल क्या होगा? मैं शर्ट का प्रोड्यूसर हूं, सो व्हाट विल बी माय रॉ मटेरियल? आई एम वेटिंग फॉर योर रिस्पॉन्स स्टूडेंट्स. फैब्रिक, yes. Cotton, yes. So when I as a producer will purchase cotton, will purchase fabric, that is my cost of production. After purchasing cotton, what I will do? I will pay for labor, I will pay for machinery, I will pay for packing, I will pay for advertisement, I will pay for transportation. What are this? Payment. This is called as cost of production. Whatever I am spending in producing that particular commodity, in producing that particular good, is called as cost of production. Meaning is clear? If yes, type Y in the chat box, students, please. If yes, Yes. So what I assume the law assumes that cost of production should not change, should remain constant. What law assumes that cost of production should remain constant? What the reason behind is very simple. If cost of production, if cost of production increases, what will happen? What will happen? Price will remain same. Price will not change. What will happen to supply? My supply will decrease. So this shows vice versa relationship. I'll explain you very clearly now. It is assumed that there is no change in the cost of production. If a change in cost of production will affect the price of the seller, will affect the profit of the seller. For example, if I assume my cost of production increases, for example, if my cost of production increases, whatever I spend on raw material increase, automatically what will happen? My final production, that is my MRP will increase, right? But I have already fixed the price in market. Can I suddenly change the MRP of the product? No. So at that particular price only, I will be selling less, I will be supplying less commodity, which means as a producer, I will face loss. My profit margin will be less. Yes or no? So that is why it is assumed that the cost of production should not change. Earlier, my cost of production was rupees 100. Now also it should be 100. In future also it should be 100. After 2 years back also it should be 100. Okay. If my cost of production doesn't change, I will earn profit. I will supply more. Understood, students? Let's move ahead now. Constant technique of production. Constant technique of production. Now, what is technique of production? We have two types of technique in production process. Yes, Gauri, exactly. Profit increases. You directly concluded the content. Exactly correct. If we have good quality, if we are using good technology, if we are using good technique of production, what will happen? A producer will produce more and more product and his profit will increase. Exactly correct. But say, we have two types of production. Yes, modern machinery is the best example of it, Ojas. We have two techniques of production, labor intensive and capital intensive. Capital we write as K. Now in labor intensive, what will happen? We will use more and more labor in the production process. In capital intensive, what will happen? We will use more and more capital. Now, for example, if I want to improve my production, what I will use? I will use modern machinery, as Ojas said. If I'm using modern machinery, modern techniques of production, what will happen? My production will increase. If my production is increasing, what will happen? I will be supplying more and more product in the market. I'll be supplying more and more product in the market at the same price, but price will remain the same. So what will happen over here? Will it give me profit as a producer? Yes or no? Definitely, I won't be earning that much. Yeah. So basically, technique of production should not change. It is also assumed that the technique of production does not change. Improved technique of production may lead to increase in production. And this in turn may lead to an increase in supply at the same price. A producer won't be earning that much profit because the price is same. Because the price is same. What the law says, higher the price, higher will be the supply. But at a constant price, I am selling more and more commodity. At the same price, I am selling more and more. तुम लोग समझ रहे हो, अगर मैं वही प्राइस में ज्यादा कमोडिटी सेल कर रही हूँ, ज्यादा क्वांटिटी सेल कर रही हूँ, तो मेरा प्रॉफिट उतना नहीं होगा, बराबर? Am I right? If you all have any confusion, you all can get your doubts cleared. Huh? What we are in assumption part, our price is not changing anywhere. Okay, I'll write over here. Wait, a price was 100, is 100, will be 100. This also we are assuming. But when a cost of production increases, as a producer, I will be facing loss because at 100 rupees only I'm going to sell. I will improve my technique of production. I will produce more and more product. But that product, whatever I'm producing, that I'm going to sell at 100 only. So where will be my profit? If I'm that is why it is assumed that technique of production should be constant. No change in weather condition. For example, our next example is of weather condition. Do we have control on weather? You all tell me as a student. Can we control weather? No. It is natural. We can't control it. So can this assumption be true? In reality, if we consider this thing, no, it is not possible. So over here, automatically the law of supply fails. So basically, that is the deeper part. When you study economics in more deeper sense, that time you will get to know more about it. It is assumed that there is no change in the weather condition. For example, flood. In case, for example, I'll give you, if if a farmer, I'm a producer and I'm a farmer, have produced crop. For example, which example should I take? Wheat production can we take? Okay, rice. Oh, just said rice. Okay, so I'm a producer of rice. I produce rice, nice, good quantity, good quality, fabulous. But suddenly, earthquake hit. What will happen for my produced thing? It will get destroyed. As the thing is getting destroyed, can I supply that much quantity and that quality in the market? No, it is not possible. I need to, first of all, my quality will be affected. Secondly, my quantity will be also less. So what I will do as a producer, I will be selling less product in the market. So what we are assuming in this law, that weather condition should not change. If weather condition less. Again, I repeat, if you are facing bad weather condition, a supply will be less. And obviously a profit, it will affect producers' profit. I hope the content is clear till here. If you have any doubt, you can write down in the chat box. Next assumption is no change in government policy. Is it possible that a government won't change its policy? Is it possible in reality? No. Every now and then, nowadays, you are also aware about it. Every now and then, government is changing its policy for the betterment and upliftment of the society. So what this law assumes, that there should be no change in government policy like taxation policy, trade policy, transportation policy, export policy, import policy. This policy should not change. If it will change, it will be affecting the supplier. Government keeps changing the economic policies. Yes, Ojas. But here what law assumes, that it should not change. Okay. So in reality, again, it is not possible. No change in transportation cost. This we are actually experiencing in this situation. How the transportation cost changes. If transportation costs increases, then obviously if a producer transportation cost earlier was 50, a producer was paying. Now he's paying 60 for transportation cost, but the product price is 100 only. What will happen? Profit margin will be less with the producer. Yes, rickshaw is now 50%. That only Ojas. So now what has happened? Transportation, we can't control this transportation. If transportation cost increases, suppliers will supply more commodity. First thing. Okay. Suppose transportation facilities, they have increased. A better transportation facilities, we are having good metro, good truck, good road, fast and swift delivery of product. What will happen? More and more product the suppliers will supply, but at the same price. Again, but at the same price. What will be happen? The producer won't earn that much profit, right? And vice versa. So it is assumed that there is no change in the condition of transportation facility and transport cost. For example, better transportation facility, it will increase the supply at the same price. For example, if we will take Ojas example, if transportation cost is increasing, then again the supplier at the same price, he will be supplying less or more. He will be facing loss, right? Next, prices of the other goods remains constant. Other goods means what? Substitute product. For example, if we take Colgate and Pepsodent. If we take Colgate and Pepsodent, I am the producer and seller of Colgate. Pepsodent should not change its price. Pepsodent is my substitute. It's my other product. Pepsodent should not change its price. Can we have control on others company product? No. So this is also not possible. So we assume this law assumes that prices of other goods should remain constant, should not change. If they change, the law of supply may not hold true because producer may transfer resources to other products. No future expectation. Now, whatever as a producer, as a rational producer, what we do, we assume about future. Chalo, in future, our price, our product price, our product will have more demand. Prices of our in future will be more. We will hold this supply now, and we will supply it in the future. If we do this, is it correct? Is it correct? We will think that in future our product price will increase. So what do we as a producer will do in the present? We will hold the supply. We will supply less quantity. We will supply less quantity. And when in future, when the prices rises, we are supplying more. So this should also not take place. Okay. The law also assumes that the seller do not expect, we as a producer are not expecting anything about the future. What is the current situation? We are acting according to it. But is it true? We will never think as a producer about the future. We will never think. No, yes, obviously not. We will definitely think as a producer. We need to think of our product, our price, our profit margin. So the law also assumes that the seller do not expect future change in the price of the product. Now, next part, is this part clear? Kindly select yes in the participant list. Jigna, Shruti. If you have doubt, you can tap on cross. Okay, good. Moving ahead now. Law of supply is explained with the help of following schedule and diagram. Okay, first you have to draw this schedule. We have price of commodity X. Commodity X means whatever product is there in rupees, in Indian rupees. Supply of commodity X in unit, that is kg. Okay. At rupees 10, quantity supplied was 100 kg. At rupees 20, quantity supplied was 200 kilo. At rupees 30, quantity supplied was 300 kg. At 40, 400 kg. At 50, at rupees 50, 500 kilo. What this shows, as price increases, quantity supply also increases. Am I right? This shows direct relationship, or else direct relationship, or else positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. When price increases, quantity supply also increases. After drawing this schedule, you all will tell me on y-axis what do we measure, and on x-axis what do we measure? On y-axis what do we measure? On y-axis what do we measure? Exactly correct, Joel, Preeti, Gauri. On y-axis we measure price. On x-axis what do we measure? On x-axis, yes, correct. On x-axis we measure quantity. Which subject are we studying? Which topic are we studying, Jigna? On x-axis we measure quantity supplied in kgs. Okay, thank you, Ojas. Ojas replied supply schedule, because some of the students replied quantity demanded. That is why I said which content are we studying. Okay, on x-axis we measure quantity supplied in kilo. Moving ahead now, whatever we have created our schedule over here, you have to do it in a graphical representation form. No need to use graph. If you use it, well and good. But in examination, we won't be providing you any kind of graph. You have to mark it and draw it by your own self. Okay. So then you, after drawing this diagram, you have to explain. After drawing the table, you have to explain as price increases, quantity supply also increases. It means it shows the direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. On x-axis represents quantity supplied. Y-axis represents price of the commodity. SS is the supply curve which slopes upward from left to right, from left to right. It is a positive slope. It indicates direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Is the content clear till here? After our assumption, you have to draw the schedule. After drawing the schedule, you have to explain, you have to draw the diagram, you have to explain it. Okay? As price increases, supply increases, positive relationship. Third point is direct relationship. Okay? If you understood the content, select yes. Okay. So next part is of our acceptations. Now, what is the meaning of exception? Exception means that this law is not going to be applied on few of the topics. There are total 5 exceptions to the law. First one is supply of labor. Second is agricultural goods. Third is urgent need for cash. Fourth, perishable goods. And fifth, rare goods. In this, all of the exception, this first one is quite lengthy, and this is actually happening in our economy. What is the meaning of labor? Kindly write down, according to you, what is the meaning of labor? What do labor get in return? Yes, labor gets wages. Labor gets wages. So our very first content is supply of labor. Now, what is happening over here? You have to first write down that labor supply is the total number of hours. Now, on what basis do we get? On what basis do we get wages? On the hours we work. Okay. First of all, I will tell you the meaning. Then we will understand the labor supply schedule. Then we will analyze its graphical representation, and then the conclusion of this particular content. Okay. So let's start. Labor supply is the total number of hours that workers to work at a given wage rate, as you all said. It is represented graphically by a supply curve. S is a supply curve in this particular, S1 is a supply curve in this particular diagram. In case of labor, as a wage rate rises, in case of supply of labor, when wage rate rises, the supply of labor, okay, this shows positive and direct relationship. At the starting, when wage rate of the labor is increasing, supply of the labor is also increasing. Okay, is this thing clear at the first? First point is clear, students? Type Y. And as this is positive relationship, what will be a supply curve, upward or downward? What will be a supply curve? What will be a supply curve? SS curve will be, very good, Joy. It will be upward sloping. This is the first point. Now, what as a rational laborer, you need to answer me now. Further rise in wage rate. Further rise in wage rate. Wage rate is increasing now again. Your worker, your boss is very happy with your work, and earlier he was paying you 100 rupees. Now he's paying you 200 rupees. Will you all work for more hours? Will you all work? As a rational, you need to tell me. Earlier you were working, yes, you will be working for more hours. So over here, this means that supply is increasing. This means that supply is increasing. Earlier, where your boss was paying you 100 rupees, you are working for 4 hours. Example I'm giving you. Huh? Now, your boss was happy with your work and he wanted more and more projects. Earlier you were working for 4 hours, now you're working for 5 hours. Now your boss is telling you, I want more production. I want you to work more. So, and he is expecting you to work for 10 hours. And he is paying you 300 rupees now. And he is asking you to work for more hours. So will you all work? Will you all work? Definitely no. Why? Because it will be, your quality will be maximum. But it will be hectic for you to work. So what will happen? Supply will reduce. furthermore, rise in wage rate will reduce the supply of labor, and automatically a supply curve will be backward sloping after a point of time. First it will increase and then it will decrease supply. Okay, supply curve. Was it clear till here? 3 points we studied. First, when a wage rate increases, okay, our supply of labor increases. Further increase in wage rate, supply of labor increases, but further more increase in wage rate, supply will not increase, it will decrease. Okay, it will decrease. The reason behind is because the worker would prefer leisure to work after raising higher amount of wage. Okay, what the person will tell, thank you boss, you're giving me so good income, you have increased my wage rate, but I won't be able to work for so long hours. Might be personal reason. Okay, uh, clear till here? Clear till here? Or else if he's working also, he won't be providing that much return, that much output, that much productivity, because he's not having that much capacity to work for so long hours. Now it can be explained with the help of backward bending supply curve, with the help of the table. Okay, now in this table we have three things. Don't get confused, and you have to write properly. Wage rate in rupees, in Indian rupees, per hour. Per hour means what? 1 hour. Second is hours of work per day. Per day, in 1 day, how much hours you as a labor going to be working, and what will be a total amount per day. For example, in the first example, you can see 1 hour I'm getting 100 rupees and I'm working for 5 hours. So what will be my income of a day? What will be my income of a day? Very good. You have to multiply 100 into 5. That will be 500. So in a day, I am earning rupees 500. Now my boss is very happy, has increased my wage from 100 to 200 per hour. And even my working hours per day increased to 7 hours per day. So per day, how much I am earning per day? This is very good. 1,400 rupees I am earning in a day. Exactly correct. Third example. Again, my boss is very happy with my work, with my productivity, with my quality, and the dedication of my work have increased my wage to 300 per hour. To 300 per hour. And but I'm not able to work for this long, as the 7 hours was also hectic for me. Instead of working for these 7 hours, I started working for 6 hours because I want leisure. I want free time for my work. So what will be my wage? What will be my wage? It will be 1,800. Exactly correct, Anuradha and other students. It will be, so y'all can see over here. Now y'all will tell me, as a wage is increasing, per day also it is increasing, but you can see over here, the supply of labor is have reduced. Earlier it was 5, then it was 7, now it is back to 6. We have to consider this part and this part when we are drawing the diagram. Okay, we are earning good income, but supply of labor have reduced. Yes, correct, students. Now you have to draw. On y-axis, you are going to measure wage rate rupees per hour. On x-axis, you are going to measure supply of labor hours of work. This will be on your x-axis. This will be on your y-axis. You have to plot 100 table, 100, 200, 300, then 5, 6, 7. Okay. You have to plot this supply curve is backward bending. The reason, at the initial stage, when the wage rate is rupees 100 per hour, the hours of work is 5. You can see over here. Yes. Then the total amount of wage received is rupees 500. When the wage rate rise from 100 to 200, hours of work will also increase from 5 to 7. From 5 to 7. See the diagram. Huh? See the diagram, 5 to 7 hours. And the total amount of wage would also rise from 500 to 1,400 rupees. At this point, labor enjoys the highest amount. If you compare this, the labor is enjoying work for 7 hours. If the wage rate rises further from 200 to 300, total amount of wage may rise. The total amount of wage may rise, but the supply of labor will reduce because the labor would prefer leisure time and denies to work for extra hours. Thus, is ready to work only for 6 hours. At the point A, the supply curve bent backwards, which become an exception. Was my content clear? Earlier he was over here, then here, then here. This shows the backward movement curve. If you all want, you all can draw this backward curve on the screen or in your notebook. Let's continue to our next part. Second one is our agricultural goods. Now in agricultural goods, what will take place? The law of supply is not applicable on agricultural goods as they are produced in specific season and their production depends on weather condition. Okay, due to unfavorable weather change in weather, if the agricultural production is low, this supply cannot be increased even at a higher price. Okay, suppose the price of whatever banana, if you say example I will take, is 20 rupees, which is, and it has increased to 50 rupees, but production only has not taken place. How will the producer supply? Can he supply? Can he supply? If production only is not there, if he's not having the commodity in his hand, will he be able to supply even at the higher price? No, definitely not. So it is not applicable on agricultural. It is not applicable on the agricultural product. Urgent need of cash. I urgently need money due to some emergency purpose like hospital or whatever. It is my personal reason. I want urgent. I want money urgently. I have one property. What I will do, as I'm in need of money, I will sell that property even at a lower price because I want money. So this is not applicable even when a person is in urgent need of cash. This law is not applicable on this situation. If the seller is in urgent need of hard cash, he may sell his product at which may even be lower than the market price. Example, after urgent need of cash, we have perishable goods. Perishable goods means what? That goods which cannot be stored for longer period of time. So what supplier do? The supplier offer to sell more quantity at a lower price to avoid losses. For example, egg. For example, milk and milk products. What are this? These are the perishable goods. Now as a supplier, I have more units of perishable goods. What I will do, I will be, and my product is not being sold. What I will do, I will reduce my price and I will sell that particular product. Okay, so even this is not applicable on the perishable goods where the seller have to sell their product even at a lower price just to avoid losses. For example, I told you milk. As a producer, I need to clear my stock, and I will because if I won't clear my stock, I will be in big loss. So I have to sell my particular product. Now what is rare good? Rare goods means that goods which cannot be produced, which are not easily available. For example, old coins, paintings, antique goods. Okay, what are this? These are the rare goods. The supply of rare goods cannot be increased or decreased according to the demand. Even if the price rises, supply remains unchanged. Okay. Our next content is about variations in supply. You have to remember one thing in variation in supply: our price changes. Our price changes and other things remain constant. Over here in variation, there are only one difference in variation in demand, a variation in supply and changes in supply. In variation in supply, over here price changes. Okay, change. When quantity supplied of a commodity varies due to change in its price, other factor remaining constant is known as variation in supply. There are two types of variation in supply: expansion and contraction in supply. In expansion of supply, what will happen? A price increases, supply increases, quantity supplied increases. It is upward sloping. Okay, you have to draw this diagram after writing the meaning. In meaning, you have to mention that price increases, other things remain constant. Other things means what? A competitor's price, our transportation cost, our government policy. What are this? This remains constant. Only a price changes, our price increases, a quantity supply increases. Then you have to explain the diagram. On x-axis we have price, on x-axis we measure quantity supplied, on y-axis we measure price. Quantity supply rises from OQ to OQ1, OQ to OQ1, with the rise in price from OP to OP1, resulting in upward movement from M to N along the same supply curve SS. This shows expansion. Expansion मतलब क्या? Price बढ़ा, quantity बढ़ा. Okay. Whereas contraction in supply curve, contraction of supply refers to fall in the quantity supplied due to fall in price. इधर price कम हो रहा है, तुम देखोगे तो supply curve N से M तक आ रहा है. In case of contraction, in case of contraction of supply, the downward sloping supply curve is being shown. After drawing the diagram, you have to explain the diagram. On x-axis, quantity supplied has been measured. On y-axis, price has been measured. When quantity supply decreases from OQ to OQ2, with fall in price from OP to OP2, resulting in downward movement of supply curve from N to M. Clear till here? SS is a supply curve. Okay. Next thing is about changes in supply. Changes in supply में क्या होता है? अपना price same रहता है, but changes इस वजह से होता है because of other factors change होता है. जैसे कि हम लोग ने टेक्नोलॉजी चेंज किया, जिसके वजह से हमारा सप्लाई चेंज हुआ. हम लोग ने अपना गवर्नमेंट टैक्स पॉलिसी चेंज हुआ, जिसके वजह से हमारा सप्लाई इफेक्ट हुआ. टैक्स कॉस्ट की वजह से हमारा सप्लाई इफेक्ट हुआ है. ठीक है. इन दिस price remains constant and other factor changes, the reason of a change in supply. When other factor changes and price remain constant is known as changes in supply. We have two types: increase in supply and decrease in supply. Increase in supply refers to rise in supply of a given commodity due to favorable matlab good, okay, profitable, beneficial changes in other factors such as fall in price of input, raw material सस्ते में मिल रहा है, ठीक है, cost of production कम हो गया, fall in tax, good technology, etc., and price remain constant. The supply curve shifts rightward. You can see in this particular picture is shifting rightward, outward. Okay. You have to explain the diagram. On y-axis price, on x-axis quantity supplied. Supply rises from OQ to OQ1 at the same price OP, resulting in outward shift of to the right from SS to S1, S1. Decrease in supply. Decrease in supply refers to fall in supply of a given commodity due to unfavorable changes in other factor. Changes in other factor, okay. Unfavorable मतलब loss. Suppose technology अच्छा ना हो, अचानक input cost of production बढ़ गया हो, taxes बढ़ गए हो, जिसके वजह से हमारा supply कम हो रहा है, ठीक है. And prices बढ़ रहे refers to fall in supply of a given commodity due to unfavorable changes in other factors such as increase in price of input, increase in tax, outdated technologies, strike by worker, price remains constant. The supply curve shifts to the left from the original supply curve. Then you have to explain. On y-axis we measure price, on x-axis quantity supplied. Okay, supply falls from OQ to OQ2 at this price OP. The supply curve shifts inwards of the original supply curve to the left from SS to S2 S2. It shows decrease in supply. Tomorrow we will analyze concept of cost and revenue.